Hello and welcome to today's ALSC webinar, Get Involved with ALSC, Navigating Opportunities Within the Organization. Our speaker today is ALSC's President-elect, Jamie Nadeau. A couple of housekeeping items before we begin. First, if you lose sound during the presentation, please try exiting the room and coming back in. It also helps if you have nothing else running on your computer, as Adobe Connect is a large program. If the sound's coming in very faintly and you have your speakers turned up as loudly as possible, try listening with a pair of headphones. You'll be receiving a link to this recorded presentation and an evaluation after the webinar. The evaluation will take only a few moments of your time, and we'd greatly appreciate your responses. So without further ado, I'll turn things over to Jamie.
All right, everyone. First of all, welcome. Thank you so much for attending today, taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about ALSC, either learn more how to become involved, either new things or old things. Maybe this is old hat to you, or maybe this is your first time attending. So welcome, welcome. And a big thank you to the ALSC Education Committee for making the suggestion that we have this webinar, and also a huge thank you to the ALSC staff for all your behind the scenes work and making all the magic that makes everything happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so to start out with, what are we going to talk about within the next 45 minutes or so? Well, we want to talk about how to get you more involved with ALSC. What are some leadership opportunities? What are some ways that you can become in committee work? What are some virtual opportunities for you to become involved? How can you get involved locally? Maybe you're into writing and teaching. So what are some writing, teaching, and creating opportunities that where you can share your skills with ALSC? And then what are some communication venues that we have for communicating information out to you and hearing from you? So we're going to cover a lot of those things. As I go along, I'll be sharing lots of information. If you have a question or something that comes up, put your question in the chat box. And one of the fabulous ALSC staff will go ahead and snag your question. I may or may not answer it immediately right then, particularly if it's something I know I will be covering in a few minutes. Then I'm probably not going to answer your question, because I know we're going to get to it in 2 seconds. But we will answer as many questions as possible. So do feel free to put those in the chat box. All right, so how do you maximize your return on your membership? You're paying your dues, your employer's paying your dues, somebody's paying your dues, and you don't want to just be like a book sitting on a shelf that nobody checks out, that has all this goodness that nobody knows about. You want to be out there sharing your ALSC goodness with everybody, sharing your skills with everybody. So how do you maximize your return on your membership? Share your skills. So this whole webinar is all about how to get you involved and how to justify to your administrators why you should become involved with ALSC. I mean, my immediate answer is, why wouldn't you want to become involved in ALSC? But sometimes it needs a little selling, to people who aren't as passionate about children's services as we are. So let's start out by talking about communication. How do we communicate with you? How do you communicate with us? And then, as I said, we'll go on down the list then, talking about committees and leadership opportunities and local opportunities, and then other opportunities for you to teach, write, and share. First of all, you have completed a survey giving us feedback on ways that you want to become more involved, or things that you want, would like ALSC to do to help better serve you. And we thank you so much for your feedback on that survey. ALSC staff and other committees are hard work looking at that information, and we're thinking about how to respond to your needs and your requests. So thank you for that. All right, how do we communicate? ALSC-L, the listserv of our association, is one of the major ways that we communicate. You'll find information on ALSC-L about grant opportunities, ALSC Institute, about requests from various committee chairs asking you to provide input on suggested books that should be considered for various awards. You'll find information on ALSC-L also from your fellow librarians and paraprofessionals out in the field that are serving children. People that are asking questions, or maybe asking questions personally. How do they professionally do something better? How can they improve their services or collections? Or they may be asking reference questions, where somebody comes to their reference desk and asks a question and they're not sure, but they can go to the collective body of ALSC, where all of us smart people are, and can maybe some of you answer those questions. So ALSC-L is a great way to be incommunicado with people in your organization, and then also librarians out in the field. You don't have to be a member of ALSC to join ALSC-L. If you're not a member of ALSC-L, I highly encourage you to do that. You have multiple opportunities to do digest versions of that, or to have everything coming into your mailbox. If you do join ALSC-L, something to think about is having that email go to having a separate email account just for ALSC-L, because if it gets mixed in with your work email, sometimes it's hard to find messages and answer them timely. So I have a separate mailbox for ALSC-L. The ALSC blog is another great and timely way that we communicate information and that members communicate information. ALSC blog has people posting, members posting about work that committees are doing, work that the board is doing, opportunities for grants, opportunities for scholarships, learning opportunities, or people sharing just their vast knowledge about programs, collections, and services for children of all ages. So you can sign up for the ALSC blog so that you get an email every time there's a new post, or you can go and check on a daily basis and see what new goodness has shown up on the ALSC blog. Emails is another way. Newsletters that come into your mailbox, in your email mailbox, about what's going on. So there's the ALSC Update, which is a weekly newsy letter that comes out on Wednesday morning. And then there's the ALSC Advantage. ALSC Advantage comes out bi-weekly. ALSC Advantage has sends out information about grants, award, learning opportunities, and just other things that can help you improve yourself through ALSC. And that comes out. If you subscribe to those, you can get those just sent right to your mailbox. Other ways that we communicate are via social media. So we communicate volunteer opportunities and all these other ways that we've talked about so far. We communicate information about how to become involved and volunteer through those opportunities, but then also in social media. We put things out in social media as well. And then there are the community forums, and I'll talk a little bit more about the community forums in just a second. So I've already mentioned the ALSC-L discussion list. If you want to join the ALSC discussion list, this is the URL that you would go to. You could also go to the ALSC website and then type in ALSC-L, and it will come up with this information. But you can go here to join ALSC-L and to start receiving lots of messages from members. So I mentioned social media. What are some social media outlets? Oh, good. And Kristen says that we will be sending a copy of this slide out to everyone. So you'll have everything in blues, all those hot links, so you can go there to these various parts of the website. So you don't have to do the searching on the website. So ALSC social media, there are lots of opportunities there where we share information out about what's going on via ALA Connect. Right now we have the old version of ALA Connect. We will have the new version soon. Currently ALA Connect will be hanging out. The current version will be hanging around at least till the end of midwinter, and then we'll be seeing the new one coming soon. ALA Connect is a great way for, if you are already involved in a committee, to share information among members. But if you are interested in becoming involved in a committee, you have to sign into ALA Connect as an ALA member, but then there's public postings that various committees do. So if you want to see what the work of a committee is going on, then you can go to ALA Connect and you can see what various committees are doing, what they're discussing. Virtual committees are sharing information on ALA Connect, as well as committees that meet face-to-face. They're sharing meeting minutes and things like that on ALA Connect. Twitter, our Twitter handle is there on your screen. That's another way that we share information out about what's going on at ALSC, ways to become involved, volunteer opportunities, appointments, etc. Our Facebook page is another way we share out information. We have a YouTube channel where we share out best practices, information about the organization, just things that you can use are available on our YouTube channel. And a lot of this content is created by specific committees within ALSC. I've already mentioned the ALSC blog. We have a Pinterest page that is maintained by various ALSC committees, add things to the Pinterest page. And then we also have a ALSC wiki where additional information is shared. So we have lots of different venues for us to share information with you and for members, when you're part of a particular committee, to share out some of the work that you're doing so that other members of the organization can know what you're doing and then maybe get an idea of what that committee work is about. So when it comes time to volunteer, and they might want to volunteer for that committee. I mentioned community forums. Well, what are community forums? So some of you have attended ALSC community forums. I've seen your name before in the participant list. But ALSC community forums, they're hosted throughout the year in this same platform that you're in now. And in this community forum, there's usually a speaker who is talking about some hot topic and presenting some issue that's currently facing the organization or our profession in general. Then there's an opportunity to chat with the president and board members and maybe specific members of ALSC committees that are related to whatever the hot topic is. There's opportunity to ask questions, dig deeper, and think more about what's going on related to whatever that hot topic is. If you are unable to attend an ALSC community forum, because we try to schedule them as conveniently as possible, but obviously it doesn't work out for everyone. So if you're not able to attend, just like this webinar is being archived, those are archived as well. You can find the transcripts and you can go back and check out and see what information you missed. So the heart of today's discussion is getting involved in ALSC. So how do you get involved in ALSC? What are the opportunities? I did a screen capture here from the ALSC website that lists the ALSC committees. There are almost 60 committees in ALSC, and you can see they're divided up into various priority groups. There's priority group 1, which is child advocacy, and you can see a listing of all the committees that are there. It's a process committee. You can see priority group 2, which is evaluation of media. You can see priority group 3 is professional awards and scholarships. So any of those things that we're giving out, scholarships for people to attend conferences, money or honors to someone for their distinguished work. There's organizational support in group 4, and those are also process committees. There's priority group 5, which is awards, which I know a lot of people are very interested in, but there's all these other committees are equally important as priority group 5. There's priority group 6, which is partnerships, so it's partnering with other organizations and out in the field that relate to libraries. Who are working with other youth divisions in ALA, but then also other organizations out in the field. And then there's the professional development priority group, which all these have services to members, but this one particularly provides opportunities for services for members, thinking about how we can better ourselves, thinking about professional development, how we can learn new skills, how we can share what skills we have with other people. So there's that priority group as well. So currently, we are working on a volunteer form, and I'm going to tell you more about the volunteer form in just a moment. But these are the committees that we have available, and by the end of our time together this morning, or this afternoon, depending where you are, hopefully you're going to be excited to want to run out there and fill out a volunteer form. And I'm going to tell you when that should happen. So, committees. I just mentioned that there's almost 60 committees. I mentioned that a lot of people like award committees, but there are other awesome committees out there. All committees are important. So even if you fill out a volunteer form and you list every single book award committee there's on, and you don't get asked to be on one of those, but you get asked to be on a process committee, that's just as important as being on an award committee. All committees are important. Process committees can be a really great way to learn more about the organization, about how things work, how a specific corner of the organization or part of the organization works. And I would also say the same thing. We're going to talk about ALSC leadership opportunities in a moment. ALSC leadership opportunities are another great way to learn more about the organization as a whole. I know personally, I have been on various process committees, and it allowed me to see various parts of what else was going on, but not always the big picture. So when you get involved in leadership opportunities, it allows you to see more beyond just your own little committee, to see the big picture of ALSC and how everything works together. And it's just a well-oiled machine that the ALSC staff helps us run. So in addition to committees, there are task force opportunities. Task force opportunities are things that just pop up. So we have the almost 60 regular committees, but then there might be something that we need to explore to see how better to do something, or we need more information about a specific topic. So the ALSC leadership may decide that we need to form a task force to delve deeper into a topic and learn more about something. And so we will create a task force. So that's another opportunity for you to become involved. Now, some people may say, but I can't physically come to conference. That's okay. There are virtual committees. There are lots of virtual opportunities, and we're trying to make more committees virtual to give more members opportunities to come, because we understand that the cost of attending conference sometimes precludes people from becoming involved in ALSC. And so we want to provide those opportunities for everyone to become involved. So what are some of the virtual committees? So in the next couple of slides, we've listed out some of the committees that are virtual. You can click on the links there when you get the PowerPoint, and that will take you to the exact part of the ALSC website that tells you what that committee does and what the makeup of that membership of the committee looks like. So we have the Arbuthnot Honor Lecture Committee. That as an example of one virtual committee. So these are all things that are under Priority Group 3 Professional Awards and Scholarships. We have the Distinguished Service Award. We have the Grant Administration Committee, and then also the Melcher and Bound to Stay Bound Committee scholarships as well. And all those are virtual. In those instances, in virtual committees, the chair is requested to attend ALA, but the members do almost all their work online, and you don't have to come to conference. Other opportunities in Priority Group 4, Organizational Support, you have the Oral History Committee. You also have the Website Advisory Committee that provide opportunities for virtual participation. Priority Group 6, Partnerships, so you have the Interdivisional Committee on School Library Cooperation. You have the Quick List Consulting Committee. Both of those provide opportunities for you to become involved virtually as well. Priority Group 7, Professional Development. So there's the Editorial Advisory Committee for our journal, Children's and Libraries. That advisory committee meets virtually, so you could become involved there, share your skills there. There's the Children and Technology Committee, Education Committee, and the Managing Children's Services Committee. So as you can see, just from this slide and the other previous slides, there's a lot of opportunities to become involved virtually. So if you can't come to conference, or maybe you have colleagues that really want to become involved in ALSC, but can't come to conference, then these are opportunities to become involved in ALSC virtually without having to, physically come to ALA Midwinter and ALA Annual. We would love to have you come and take advantage of all the wonderful opportunities and learning opportunities and networking opportunities that happen at those conferences, but we also understand that everyone is not available to do that. And currently, ALSC leadership is looking at other committees that we can help potentially turn into virtual committees or make some of their work virtual so that we can open up additional leadership or volunteer opportunities. So the big question, and a question that maybe I didn't know more about until I became involved in ALSC leadership, was who appoints the committees? When do they appoint the committees? How do you volunteer? Some people are asked regularly to be on committees, and so they know how to do the volunteer form and how that whole process works. Other people, this may be their first time doing it, And so they're new, and what do we do? But also, we are changing our process. In the past, we had a paper form that we had volunteers fill out and submit. We have now moved to an online volunteer form, and a very new and improved volunteer form. So new and improved, we've been making changes. We were even making changes yesterday and even today. So this volunteer form is going to hopefully provide information that's going to be really helpful to myself when I do committee appointments, as well as other future leaders with ALSC when they do appointments for committees. So who appoints committee members? Well, the ALSC vice president appoints some committees when they're coming into the year, and the ALSC president's appointing committees. So most recently, Nina Lindsay is our ALSC president, current ALSC president. She's been making appointments all along up until about this week. And so Nina has been appointing process committees. She's also been appointing awards committees. She's been finding replacements. And now at some point, you've got to pull the brakes on and say, okay, you know, Nina has done lots of appointments. Somebody else needs to join the fund. So that's me. I get to start joining the fund. And right about now is when I joined the fund. I've already started appointing my nominating leadership development committee. I've also started appointing the Charlemagne Rollins president committee, the committee that will be developing my president's program that will be delivered at ALA annual on down the line. So right now I'm the one that's going to be making the committee appointments. Nina just finished. After me will be the next illustrious, whoever that awesome person is, vice president, president-elect that will be doing appointments. So what is the timeline for the committee appointments? There's appointments that happen in the spring, appointments that happen in the fall, and ongoing appointments. So in the spring, right around midwinter, after midwinter, I will start doing appointments for process committees. And basically those are, you know, those are not the award committees, but those are the other committees, such as organizational support, such as awards, organizational support and professional development and partnerships, child advocacy, all those types of committees or process committees, and I will be starting appointments for those. Next fall, after we've had the election and see who has been voted in to be on the various committees, who has been elected to be on the various committees, then I will finish out the award committees by making my appointments for the rest of the members of various award committees. And then I will be also making ongoing replacements. Sometimes our lives change, our commitment level to commitment that we have to volunteer changes, and so we have to step down. And that's an okay thing to do. And so if you have to step down, you tell that, you notify your priority group chair and the ALSC office and myself. We find that, and then if someone has to step down, then we have to find replacements. And so then we go through the process of finding replacements for people to serve on committees. So I mentioned something about people being elected. So to be on a committee, some committees, the information is people are appointed to by the ALSC leadership to be on a committee, and other committees, people are put on a ballot. So the Nominating and Leadership Development Committee, they work on creating a ballot that goes out every spring, and then the membership votes for people to serve as potential board members or to serve as vice president, president-elect, but then also to serve on specific book award committees. And usually on that ballot, it's half the committee is elected. Half of the book award committee members are elected, and then the other half of those committee members are appointed by ALSC leadership. So after we figure out who gets elected, then I turn and think about who else could complete those committees and work on those committees. I noticed that somebody mentioned in the chat box that the online volunteer form is not available yet. It is not. We thought we were having it done. It was going to be perfect. It was going to be available. And then we had to do a few more edits yesterday. And so now we're still waiting for the ALA office to make some last minute edits to that. So if you are on the spot and you're ready to volunteer, wait. I know you're excited, but I'm telling you, we're talking about all the wonderful opportunities, the ways to become involved. So let all the ALSC goodness sink in today. Think long and hard today, tomorrow, what you want to do, and then by hopefully the end of the week, the volunteer form will be live, and you can submit your information to volunteer. Now, what do you do about resubmitting? Well, why is resubmit up there? Well, the reason resubmit is up there is maybe Kathy or Alan have decided that they want to volunteer for the, Children's and Libraries Advisory Committee. That's what they really, really want to do. And so they fill out their volunteer form, they decide that's what they want to do. And then, congratulations, both of them get this most amazing promotion. And their time isn't as free as they thought it was going to be. And so maybe they don't have the opportunity to be on the editorial advisory committee, but they think they might have an opportunity to serve on a different committee. And so they prefer to serve on that committee. So that's when you resubmit. When something changes in your life, you can resubmit, and then we will know, that you have renewed interest in something else. Let's see. What do you do when you're filling out your volunteer form? We have lots of questions on the volunteer form. Not so many that you're gonna, have to spend hours filling out the volunteer form, but we do ask that you complete all the questions. There's a lot of good information that we can collect from the volunteer form, and as I mentioned, back in the day, it was a paper form. And back in the day, someone had to play with all that paper or enter some of that stuff in online for us to be able to look at all the information as a whole. Now, when you do the volunteer form, it magically feeds into this database with information. And then the ALSC staff works very hard to call out this information, and they have this huge matrix where we look at the various committees and who is rolling off this committee and what positions are open. And so we have all your information that you feel goes into this database that then we look at your skills of all the people that have applied, look at what other commitment opportunities they have available or what else they're doing, and seeing how everything kind of fits together. We can't know everything about everyone if you don't provide us information about your skills and passions. So we provide opportunities for filling out your skills and passions on this volunteer form. We've also provided some demographic questions. Those are completely optional for you to fill out. But if you do fill out demographic information, that can be helpful to us as we are forming the committees, because we try to create as diverse committees as possible related to race and ethnicity and identity, and also where you live, places within the country, and also jobs. So we try to balance committees out so that we don't have all college professors on the committee, or all children's librarians on the committee, or all children's researchers on a committee. We try to balance those things out as well, or all people from one particular part of the country. So we want to balance committees out as best as possible. So the more information you provide, the more information we have when we are building our committees. Bullet 3 here is, for me, fill out your profile on ALA Connect with your photo. I'm a very visual person, so I may have met every person who's participating right now at least once. And we may have talked, may have had the best conversation in the world, but I am horrible about remembering names. But I remember faces, so I may have talked to you over and over and over again, and we are like best buds, but I may not remember your name, or maybe your name has changed, and so I don't remember that. If you put your photo on your ALA Connect, I go around and when we are doing volunteer appointments and everything, we're gathering information about people, I often will use ALA Connect to jog my memory about someone and say, oh yeah, I remember that person exactly. I know exactly who that is. So I encourage you to fill out your profile on ALA Connect as well. Timing is also important. So going back to when we make appointments. So I'm making appointments to process committees in the spring. I'm making appointments to awards committees next fall. So you can fill out your interest, for those committees accordingly. You can fill in your interest to be on award committees, as soon as the volunteer form becomes live. But if something changes, you want to change and tweak that before I start doing appointments next fall. Same thing for process committees. You can start immediately, once the form becomes live, and you think about how you can share all your skills and become involved in the ALSC goodness. Then you can go online and you can fill out that form for a process committee. But then if something changes, then you want to update that, and then knowing that I will start making those appointments in the spring. And then there'll be ongoing appointments as people cycle off committees too, for whatever reason. So we've mentioned all these various committees. Other ways to become involved in ALSC are the leadership opportunities. Maybe you would like to become president of ALSC, or maybe you would like to become a board member, or our division counselor who represents ALSC's interest into larger ALA. Or maybe you are really good with money, other people's money, and so you would like to be our fiscal officer. These are opportunities for you to become involved in ALSC leadership. The nominating committee, nominating and leadership development committee, when each year there's a committee that's formed that works to creating the slate of people that are standing for various offices as well as various committees, and the slate comes out in the spring. On that ballot are the president, any board members that we need to replace, if it's time to replace the division counselor, the next elected person to take that position, or if it's time to replace the fiscal officer position, then the next person to take that. If this is something that you're interested in, please let me know. Let the nominating committee know. They'll be putting out the nominating committee when each time there's a new nominating committee. The chair of that committee sends an email out and sends information goes out to ALSC-L. There'll probably be something going on ALSC blog through the various communication channels saying, hey, we are looking for people that are interested in serving as leaders of ALSC. And so maybe if that is something that you're interested in, you should communicate that to us so that we know that you are interested in becoming involved in the leadership of ALSC. So those opportunities are available as well. What are some local opportunities that are available to you? So I've mentioned all these things that happen at the national level. I've mentioned that there are virtual committees that you can participate in. But what about at your local or your regional level? Well, one way to participate in ALSC is through the ALSC Roadshow. The ALSC Roadshow, there's this, you can click on the link there and that will take you to the website that talks about the ALSC Roadshow. But basically, you can ask for materials, ALSC materials, ALSC things to set up a table. You can see here would look very much something like this, where you go and promote the work of ALSC, the various initiatives of ALSC. The Roadshow is just a really great opportunity to let other people know about the work of ALSC. You can do that at local conferences that are maybe in your own city, but then also state conferences that you might have, or regional conferences. And these can be library-related conferences. These can be education or literacy conferences. Just think about ways to expand the reach of ALSC to really draw in other people and get them as excited about ALSC. If you're really passionate about ALSC and all that we do and about connecting children and libraries together, you can share that passion on a roadshow and get other people as involved and excited in ALSC. We also have local meetups at conferences. So if the ALSC leadership, someone from ALSC leadership is attending a specific conference, sometimes they will have local meetups where they announce that there's going to be, a coffee hour or a wine hour or something like that, opportunity for people to get together, ALSC members to get together, and just kind of network together. Members can do that as well. If you're attending a conference and you want to have a meetup where you're getting ALSC people together, you can do that as well. And the meetups don't necessarily have to be ALSC members. So for instance, at the ALSC Institute, there's going to be a local meetup there to hopefully get people that are not members of ALSC interested in ALSC. Maybe you have, when we have the ALSC Institute, there are people who couldn't attend the ALSC Institute for financial reasons, but they still want to get in on all the ALSC goodness. Well, by attending a local meetup that we have, a social hour that we have, it's an opportunity for people that don't attend the conference, people that are not members, maybe not even members of ALSC, to learn more about ALSC and what we do, and to network with other people. The Local Arrangements Committee is another opportunity for becoming involved in ALSC. So the Local Arrangement Committee oversees various arrangement things that are going on for ALA programs when they are, like, let's say when ALA conference is in a specific city, like ALA Midwinter. So for instance, this summer ALA annual is in New Orleans, so we'll have a local arrangements committee that can offer suggestions and advice and give us information about things that we need to know, or where we can connect with to maybe to get decorations, for various events, where to find get information about caterers, information about who to ideas for room setups, things like that. So local arrangement committees can really be helpful to us because you know your own community better than people coming from the outside. So the local arrangements committee can really be assistive to ALSC staff and ALSC leadership as we're trying to figure out how to do specific things. I've mentioned all those ways that you can become involved in ALSC. Well, what else? Maybe you would love to teach, share, and write. Teaching, sharing, and writing is your passion. So other ways to become involved in ALSC is the mentorship program. Maybe you have been involved in the children's library field for a while, and you have all this wealth of information stored away, and you're just dying to share that with somebody. Well, the ALSC mentorship program is a great way to do that. Share your knowledge, share your skills, share what you've learned with other ALSC members, someone who may just be starting out, or someone who may have changed careers, someone that can benefit from all your shared knowledge. So becoming involved in either to be a mentor, to mentor someone, or to be a mentee, to have someone mentor you. That's a way that you can be involved in sharing. Also, you can become an instructor to share information on an ALSC webinar or an online course. Maybe you know exactly how to do something. Maybe you are an expert at doing a particular type of program, or you're an expert at a particular genre of children's literature, or how to get a particular group of people to come into the library. Then sharing your information via educational webinars or online courses is a great way to do that, or by signing up to do programs at ALA annual conference or at the ALSC Institute to share your information with others via workshops and various programs. Or signing up to be a student so you can learn, because we're all lifelong learners, we're all learning new things, so you can also sign up to learn as well. Maybe writing is your passion. Well, write what you know, share what you know through writing. You can publish on the ALSC blog, you can share information on the ALSC blog about a program that you've done, something new and exciting that you've learned about. Maybe if you are attending a specific conference and you want to give us a feedback or play-by-play of what's going on at the conference, you can do blog posts about that, or tweet about what's going on at a specific ALSC session. ALSC newsletter is another way to share information. Publishing articles, either professional articles or research articles in children's and libraries is another way to publish with ALSC. But maybe you have a bigger and better idea for a book. Well, you can talk to ALSC staff about this idea, about a book that you have, and maybe you can work with ALSC staff and ALA editions to publish your idea, get your idea published into a book format. So your book would be published with ALSC's seal of approval on it. Maybe you've done research, and so you want to share your research. So applying for a Bechdel Fellowship is a way to share your research, share your understanding of what's going on in a children's literature collection. studying in children's literature and then sharing that back out with other people. That would be another way to get some of your work published. All right, so I have shared lots of information, and I am now going to stop and hear from you. What questions do you have for me or for ALSC staff? If it's something that I can't answer, then I will turn it over to an ALSC staff member to address. So what questions do you have about how to become involved with ALSC? Wow, lots of questions. All right, awesome. So let's start at the top here. Is there a link for submission guidelines for ALA editions? So ALA editions has their own submission guidelines, and when you publish, you can go through ALA editions, but you can also go through ALSC. If you go through ALA editions, then it's going to kind of bypass ALSC completely, and they're kind of on their own. But you can also go through through ALSC as a way to publish. And if you look on the website under the publishing, there's information about that. I'm going to see if we can find that URL for you. While we're getting that URL for you, let me go to the next question. Carrie asks, are non-librarians able to serve on ALSC committees? Yes. She says, I'm the school outreach coordinator here and would love to serve, but I'm not a librarian. You don't have to be a librarian to serve on ALSC committees. We have people that serve on committees that are college professors. We have people that are paraprofessionals. We have people that are teachers that are on the committees. We have people that are teacher educators. So you don't have to be a librarian to serve on those committees. Paula says, will you speak a little bit more about what a process committee does? Yes. So it depends on what specific committee it is that you're serving on. First of all, you can find information just incidentally on the slide that I had that talked about the various committees. There's a link there that tells you what each committee does, and I will get that link and throw that here into the chat box. This here is a link to what does a specific ALSC committee do. But for instance, like if you were on an intellectual freedom committee, the intellectual freedom committee talks about ways to help others in the profession advance the ideas of intellectual freedom, how to promote understanding among children in the intellectual freedom, how to handle intellectual freedom challenges. You might have a committee like the membership committee. The membership committee is a process committee, and they're all about trying to increase membership. So finding ways to increase membership, such as a roadshow application, or giving out free student memberships. So, or another process committee would be one that's working with national organizations, so liaisoning, trying to find a connection between ALSC and other like education organizations or other organizations that are serving the literacy needs of children. So those committees, they are doing something that is library related, relates to the mission of ALSC, but isn't necessarily related to a particular book or book award. So that's what a process committee is. And like I said, in that from that link there, what that's put in the chat box about what does that ALSC committee do, you can go to that link and it will show you for each committee what the particular committee does, which I think is very helpful. Erica, so just to verify, once the updated form is live, we will be able to be appointed to a process committee if we fill that out once, if it is available. So, okay, Erica. So yes, so basically, once the volunteer form is live, you will fill out the form, and your information is dumped into a very large database, and then we will go through the database, and I will be looking at the people that have applied, thinking about how best to form a committee. If it's a committee where I'm appointing, maybe there's already members there and I'm only appointing one member, which member I can appoint that fits in with the current members that are there, would add some diversity. Or if it's a brand new committee, then I'm looking to do appointments and seeing how to develop a committee that has a broad range of skills and perspectives on there. You can apply for more than one committee. And then we go through and try to find the best committee that works for you. We also understand that some people have applied multiple times to be on a committee. Everybody can't be on every committee, but we do try to provide an opportunity for everyone to have a chance to serve at something. And I know one of the things that I want to try to do is provide opportunities for people, even if you've never served on an ALSC committee before, for you to have that opportunity to serve on an ALSC committee. So Karen asks, Karen asked about the ALSC blog. What kinds of writing are you looking for? And Elizabeth has already responded to that. She says, for the ALSC blog, we are looking for anything related to library service to children, early literacy, diversity in children's literature. If you've attended a relevant conference, you can write about it, STEAM programming, and so much more. So she's provided a link there to the ALSC blog. And then Alina also provided a link to information about publishing with ALSC, and if you are interested in doing a book, what are the requirements for that. Rachel asks, for timing, the process committees, we need to apply on the volunteer by January or starting in January. I would say as long as you've applied by the end of January, you'll be just fine, because ALA Midwinter is later this year. So I will be starting looking at appointments for those by the end of Midwinter. Sarah says, hi, and thanks for hosting this. Do you have advice on how to present a proposal to join an ALSC committee to your administration? Well, one thing to do is you can sell your administration on how it helps to advance the name of your library or your school, or if you're in school, wherever it is that you're working, how it advanced the work that you're doing into the larger community. It shows that your library's commitment to the library profession. It provides opportunities for you to get out there and take on leadership roles, and to really get the name of your library and your library's work out there. And it also provides opportunities for you to learn new skills that you can take back to the library to improve your programming and to improve the services that you offer. So it's a great educational opportunity for you to share what you're doing, but then also to benefit the organization by taking new things that you've learned. And also, oftentimes, depending on your organization, they can see that what you're learning and what you're doing and by becoming involved in a committee will improve something for the library or for the school or whatever it is that you work, then they'll be more inclined to put forth some support, the time for that. Or some libraries are all about the prestige of having a member. So I know there are libraries in my community where librarians are able to attend and become on conferences because the director really wants their librarians to become involved in a national professional association, and so it's prestigious for them to have their librarians be on national committees. Okay, Erica says, to follow up on my question, will we be able to join a process committee for this year, 2018, if we fill out a new volunteer form once it's live? So, if you fill out a form and it goes for the process committee and it goes into the database, we'll be looking for appointments. The appointments that I will be doing will be for committees that start at annual conference. So they'll start at the end of annual conference, and then they'll run for, a year or 2 year, depending on the appointment, how long that committee is. But if there are committees where people have to step down, for whatever reason, then if I have to do replacements, then I'll be doing replacements for those committees, and those people would be starting immediately. So it just depends on the specific committee and the specific situation. Let's see. Bridget says, okay, volunteering. Okay, I've kind of already mentioned. Bridget wanted to know about volunteering, how to pitch that to the library's administration. I've kind of mentioned that. Yes, Rachel mentions that she started working with virtual committees because they were cheaper for administration. Yes, and that's actually a great idea, a great point, Rachel, because if you are volunteering to be on virtual committees and you can show your administration the value what you're bringing back by being on this virtual committee, then maybe they will be more inclined to put forth money for you to attend conferences, to attend some of these, and participate in some of these other committees that are not virtual. So I think it's a wonderful idea. Pam says, to verify, in spring you volunteer for process committees, in the fall you volunteer for award committees. Yes, that's it. Spring is process, and fall is award. All right, I think I've got everybody's questions. What other questions do you have?